Kia ora, this is 3 News. As we go to air this evening, a major wildfire at Tongariro National Park is continuing to grow as emergency responders bring in more support. Trampers have been evacuated from the popular Tongariro Crossing track as the fire burns in the Mangetepopo Valley. Outdoor ed centres have also been cleared. At this stage, there are no reports of damaged huts or structures. The blaze, which began yesterday afternoon, now covers more than 1,600 hectares and has forced the closure of nearby State Highway 47. Locals describe it as horrendous and absolutely devastating. Conservation staff say there will be significant biodiversity impacts, given the valley is an important alpine ecosystem. Adam Hollingworth has the latest.
An aerial view of a fire that is devastating one of our most iconic natural sites, out of control for 24 hours. Wind fanning a line of flames crossing Tongariro National Park, through one of the great walks of New Zealand and the world.
Come to save us! Come to save us!
It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
There is just an emergency happening. We were told to evacuate immediately.
But yesterday, a tussock fire halted the progress of 43 hikers at Mangetepopo who were chopped out early.
We just survived. Yeah, we are also surviving the fire.
And as the flames blazed brightly behind them, in fairness, nobody seemed too bothered. A spectacular helicopter ride, followed by a welcome drink or two. But as the tourists celebrated their escape, the blaze grew in intensity overnight.
This is the absolutely devastating fire in the Tongariro National Park.
9 other tourists were brought out this morning, and 5 locations, including the Hillary Outdoors Education Centre, have been evacuated as a precautionary measure. The owner of the Scotel in Whakapapa, Sam Clarkson, awoke to scenes evocative, he says, of Mordor.
It's a hellscape. The helicopters and fixed-wing planes that are doing their best to fight it, they just look like mosquitoes against a giant cloud rising of smoke, which dwarfs Ngātahoe.
Clarkson showed us how far the fire had spread, from Mangetepopo, 8 kilometres away, where it started, to the base of Ngauruhoe.
So it's propagated up yesterday to about there, and then today it's propagated to there. So it's kind of gone up by about 8 or 9 kilometres now.
Clarkson is confident the fire will burn itself out, but the landscape will be blackened with significant impact on biodiversity.
It's well and truly used to being burnt to a cinder. However, native plants are slow. They take time, and it's up in the alpine, and, life is not fast there.
Firefighters confirmed this afternoon the fire had spread to 1,600 hectares and is still only 20% contained, which raises significant fears.
There are some real places of cultural significance in there, and there's some real places, that are important to the locals and tourism for the area, and damage being done and loss in those places.
The strategy is simple: bombard the blaze with water from the air. 15 choppers and 5 fixed-wing aircraft working round the clock.
It's a real sort of outright air attack to quell the fire, and then crews will go in over the following days and mop up and turn over and put out any hotspots.
More than 24 hours in, and firefighters are also battling fatigue, but they've been bolstered by dock firefighting crews, Defence Force and volunteer crews, and they hope rain forecast tomorrow will help put them on top of the blaze.
We're hitting it with so much resource that we are having an impact on the fire. So I would like to think that tomorrow we're transitioning from an air attack to a ground mop-up.
The Tongariro Crossing is officially closed, and in any case, authorities want tourists and local rubberneckers to stay at home.
Ruapehu Mayor Weston Curtin has been for an aerial inspection this afternoon.
It was a horrific sight. Obviously a lot of black smoke, a lot of smoke around heading to the east, and of course a lot of area had been damaged by fire, and it's still going. We saw a lot of flames. Even by the road, there was flames. There were trucks trying to contain it, but it's, it's hard work trying to de-escalate that situation on the basis that it has been going for at least 24 hours and it's taken hold, and we can only contain about 20% of the fire.
Wow, this is obviously a vast area. How hard is it to fight this fire?
Well, it's certainly a fine day here in the Central North Island, of course, and of course the terrain is mainly, dry matter underfoot, tussock land, for example, and that burns right readily. And so we've got this issue of the wind, fine weather combination makes it really difficult for anyone trying to put a fire out of this scale. It was certainly a huge undertaking and is still going. And we believe overnight it'll cause more damage to some of the land that's around. We estimate something like 1,600 to 2,000 hectares being affected by it and still growing, and just hope that over time in the next 24 hours we see a bit of moisture and hopefully the winds will contain it somewhat.
It's been described as an ecological disaster. What is at stake here?
We're going to lose a lot of bird life. A lot of, kiwi, for example, is quite prevalent in this area. There's not so much domestic animals there, but could well be affected by it. It's just a huge loss to our community, let alone the economic loss to the Tongariro Crossing, for example. But it's just that bush and all the areas around it has been affected, and it's just going to take a long, long time to heal.